of AI, we are counting down to India AI Impact Summit 2026 that will be held from February 16 to 20th in New Delhi, which is the largest of the 4 global AI summits. It will bring together global leaders, policymakers, technology companies, innovators and experts to showcase and deliberate on the transformative potential of AI across governance, innovation and sustainable development. To talk about AI disruption, we are now joined in by founder of CRED, Kunal Shah. Now, Kunal, welcome to ET Now. We speak to leaders from travel, tech, mobility and other sectors, but how is CRED deploying AI? Where is it embedded? And what kind of ROI is it bringing for your company? Can you give us some use cases on this, Kunal?
I think, first of all, it's important to demystify on what any technology does for a company or an enterprise, right? What a technology should help any company or individual achieve is to make things better, make things faster, or make things cheaper, right? Or if I have to summarize them, to become more efficient or to become more effective, right? Today, what we are seeing as the early version of the technology is definitely increasing productivity. It is definitely increasing the time that one takes to get something out to a consumer, out to internal customers, and so on and so forth. But what is really the truth over here is that we are early days of truly realizing the power of the technology and how do we use and change our ways, right? Every time a new technology has come, for example, I'm old enough to tell you that when internet came, most people were not using internet. Most people were not using emails as well. And most people took a while to adopt smartphones as well. For the longest period of time, it took a while for people to start using touchscreens as well. But what happens is when a material technology comes around, the adaptation cycles from early adopters, so always 20-30% of the organization adopts it first. And then when they demonstrate strong productivity, strong growth, the rest of the org copies them and wants to be like them, right? So this is exactly the cycle we are at right now. Every company, there is a top 20% employees that are adopting all sorts of tools and exploring all sorts of ways of becoming more efficient and effective. And it's causing the rest of the people to kind of adopt that. From an ROI lens, it's actually quite provable because what you can do is quickly demonstrate how much time it takes to do something and how much cost of doing something. Or there are things that was otherwise not possible, you can do it all the time. For example, having an automated bot answering questions to millions of customers 24/7 is humanly impossible to scale many times, but now through AI, you can do that all day long. In fact, I believe that in future, there will be no human customer support because there is no way you can train a human to the level of context you can train an AI with and the amount of depth. So imagine if you felt like you're talking to the CEO of the company, resolving a customer support issue is what the level of depth that AI can answer your questions and go to the details of, versus having to train, let's say, junior team members who are managing the customer support function. So we are looking at a completely different world. Another example of that would be you could have a potentially all interviews being screened instead of looking at sending resumes. You could have the CEO's bot doing screening rounds for every candidate who applies to the company and remove the filter of trying to have somebody review the resumes or look at the processes and rethink how people are hired in a company.
Right, Kunal, you make very valid points, but let me further elaborate on the ROI point that you mentioned. Now, we've spoken to multiple leaders and they are of the opinion that at the moment, our focus should be not on seeing ROI via AI, but our focus should be on what the technology can actually lead to, given the fact that it is still in its early stages. Would you agree with that argument?
I think we need to invest in learning and deploying this in the right possible manner. ROI is something that is always going to be a question that we have to always answer. But when we are making some experiments and when we are trying new things, ROI cannot be the first lens we have to apply. ROI is a mind we have to apply when the investment we are going to make becomes material or serious enough for us to think the ROI mindset.
Now, Kunal, CRED has deployed AI via your AI companion called Clio. Now, what part of your value chain is fully automated because of AI, and has automation led to job losses within, CRED as well?
I think the first thing to understand is that we are entering a world where many things are going to fundamentally change and become dramatically more efficient, right? When we launched the Clio tool, it is be able to create a high quality experience on any customer support anxiety that the customer has. We are dealing with high value transactions of credit card bill payments and UPI and other bill payments. You want to be able to assure and ensure that people are getting the best kind of experience, just in case they have any doubt or clarification that they need. And I think this tool has helped us kind of cover a wide range of use cases and be always available without any wait times for the consumers to get their responses, right? But when it comes to just evaluating how to think about life going forward, we have to understand the skill sets that we need to be having to outcompete AI will require us to kind of get more and innovative, right? For example, repetitive, low agency task, there is a lot of chance of getting automated, but we have to understand every technology has created more opportunities than before. Internet was also predicted that will take away jobs. It's done the exact opposite, right? We have seen that, but there's another specific nuance. We have to not optimize for job losses. We have to look for growth of per capita income. I think we have gotten too lost in trying to worry about job losses. So let me give you an example. There are enough people employed in India with very low salaries and not having career growth. There are still people operating elevators and there are still people guarding ATMs, right? India will not, or any other country will not have a problem of job losses. We have to ask the question of, will this result in per capita income acceleration, or it will actually allow the per capita income to not grow fast enough? My view of this is, any younger nation that adopts AI and consistently encourages every individual to become AI first. Let me explain. When internet came, you could ask the question to an individual that how are you using AI to become better? Or you can ask the company, how are you using internet to make yourself better? I can tell you which is a more reliable way to know if the company is going to do well. If every individual becomes great at using internet to become better, right? Same as with AI. If I ask most people in a company that how are you using AI and how are you using it to become productive, if you are knowing how to build an agent or not, right? We are looking at different levels of proficiency to become good at AI. That is what's going to be the baseline of a talent and their per capita income growth, right? So we are looking at a world where every single individual has to become a compounding machine and learn and leverage these tools. And there is no job left which can say, I have no use of AI.
Right, well said, Kunal. But let me sort of deflect a bit from what we've been talking up till now to sort of a founder-led question. Now, you started building when AI wasn't around. So what should founders of today bear in mind when it comes to building with AI in a world that's dominated by AI? And is there an AI trend that founders are underestimating the most at the moment?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. So first of all, if founders are themselves not leaning in and building stuff using AI and practicing it with, they will always imagine this technology to be something alien and have doubts about its deficiencies versus its potential. For example, oh, I asked GPT once or Gemini once and it made some error and then I did not use it again, is not going to be a great argument, because these technologies are changing every week. So what if anybody has used ChatGPT a year and a half ago to what they are seeing as quality of answers to that is dramatic and exponentially changing, and the exponential curve is going to keep increasing, right? So we are entering a world where we will be able to get many things done effectively. But if you do not know yourself, another interesting thing is the average age that naturally feels proficient with AI is going to be younger, right? So sometimes having organizations with senior people trying to lead the AI revolution may be counterintuitive and counterproductive, right? So therefore, how do you constantly bring people with beginners mindset? It's natural in young people and very rare in senior people. But if you can put beginners mindset people to kind of lead the AI charge, things will change. Third thing is that one should not think about AI only for using for, oh, how do I improve my customer support, or how do I improve my operations. You need to think about AI for everything. How do I use AI to improve my interview process, my appraisal process, my financial audits, my compliance. Everything that your business is materially reliant on has to be thought through first from an AI lens. Now coming to what founders should be doing is keeping up. The world is changing too quickly, and their organization is not going to be able to tell them how the world is changing. The strategically, all the choices, for example, many businesses will become irrelevant if the founders are not realizing the second, third order effect of the AI technology that is coming over, right? For example, if more people, let's say more people are going to rely on AI to make a purchasing decision, you need to have a strategy that how will you be preferred by AI as a product or a service of preference when consumers are going to ask AI to make a decision for them, right? Another example of that is every household will have a younger person who will leverage AI to make key decisions for the family. For example, as you're trying to buy a property, and the kid will say, oh, let me analyze this property using this and tell you what the rent yield, all of that stuff, and give you an AI report of that. If you are not able to do that, you will struggle. If you're a doctor, every patient is going to do an AI research and come and ask you different kind of questions. If you just discount that behavior, you may not be preferred as a doctor. Or, instead of that, if you leveraged AI, you will be able to kind of give them a much better comforting answer when they are in a high anxious state. So my view of this is that every founder needs to rethink the world. See, what happened with internet is information become accessible in the air.
Right.
With AI, intelligence has become accessible in the air, right? When information becoming accessible to intelligence become accessible, we are living a very, very different world now.
Kunal, you're also an investor in early stage investments across fintech, consumer, and SaaS sectors. How are investors today looking at AI space, especially given the boom that has come in amidst massive geopolitical disruptions? Has the shift towards AI been accelerated hence?
Yeah, so I think investors are looking at getting returns of capital. And there is one single principle that attracts most investors than any other theme is revenue growth rate, right? If any category demonstrates strong revenue growth rate, it will always attract capital. AI, unlike the internet boom in the past, is demonstrating strong revenue acceleration and not just user acceleration, right? Anthropic moved from 100 million revenue to 1 billion in a year and 1 billion to 10 billion a year. 10x revenue 2 times has not happened in history of companies, right? So when these kind of things are happening at a rapid pace, capital will get attracted to that. But you have to understand one thing: the total amount of wealth creation of the world is going to dramatically increase, right? We are entering a world where GDP growth rates might just materially become stronger for every country that takes adoption of AI. But we may not be in the situation where the per capita income will be able to kind of keep up. The gap of wealth will dramatically change. A simplest analogy of this is, let's take an example of auto rickshaw drivers, right? Not too long ago, many of them did not take these apps, and they were waited on the street, and you would hail them on the street. As they adopted maps and these ride-hailing apps, suddenly their income increased dramatically. But there are many of those who never adopted apps and never adopted these technologies and never adopted smartphones. Their income remained small. They still have jobs, but their income is significantly lower. This is exactly what's going to happen to every single job, every single company.
Right, Kunal, just one final question before we let you go. And this is essentially around how can India sort of take leadership as far as the world of AI is concerned globally. We are also hosting the AI Impact Summit just next week, just in a couple of days from now. And I asked you this question with respect to what's happening in the United States, for instance, or China, for instance. In fact, both of them have had an early mover's advantage. Do you think India can take leadership in the space of AI, and what are the strengths that it can bet on?
I think trying to win on things that the world is winning materially on is not a good idea. For example, let's say if CRED as a startup has to compete with companies that have a lot bigger balance sheet on the things that require a lot of capital is not a great idea to compete on. But you can do innovations that are less requirement of capital and do more adoption. The simple framework for India, I would say, is the following. We have the youngest demographic. On an average, we consume 32 GB to 35 GB per capita of internet, right? If we can get people to focus on becoming more productive using AI and consistently encourage that behavior, we will net beat most countries in terms of action. Let the world make the technology, be the best user of the technology, right? We have to focus on becoming the best user of the technology of the world versus trying to say, oh, we have not built an LLM, we have not built data center, we don't have the GPUs. Sure, that requires an immense amount of capital and technical expertise. And I don't see that we will magically flip the button and become world beating on that. But can we become world beating on leveraging this technology to become great at productivity, make our companies compete with the global best companies to use this technology and really outpace them in many categories? I think that is the opportunity and that is what we should be focusing on.